Hi, I'm very happy about the National HRD Network expanding itself into universities and institutions of higher education. I must congratulate Prem Singh and his team, the new board, and a number of others who are instrumental in starting a chapter in Tamil Nadu in Sastra University, and now another chapter in Himachal Pradesh in Sholin University. Both the chapters are steps in the right direction to achieve the vision that National HRD Network had put itself for 1947 and even much earlier. I would like to use this opportunity to share some of my thoughts to all those institutions that are likely to start new chapters of National HRD Network. The first thing, the formation of the concept of human resource development in organizations aims at making the place of work a happy place of work. When people realized, particularly employees realized they spend 60 to 70% of their waking life for organizations, it was a right question to ask, what is it that the organization can do to make the place of work a happy place? So HRD as a concept was formed for competence building, commitment building, which means happiness building. Commitment comes through happiness, and culture building to make both competencies and commitment lasting kind of thing by creating a culture in organizations. Since mid-70s, when we formulated this concept of HRD and started the human resource development as a department, later as a function, we have come a long way in the last almost 50 years. Mid-74 to now 2023, soon will be 2024 and 25. One most important development or growth that has taken place in HRD is HRD started being perceived as not only the function of a department, HRD department, but as a responsibility of every person, every human being. The concept of HRD has now come to be realized as developing one's own self, one's own competencies, finding happiness in whatever we do, and also creating culture in our places of work. This is not responsibility of any one department. This is the responsibility of every individual. So today we say HRD is the job not only of those who are designated as HRD managers, HRD officers or equivalent, but is the job of every human being. Starting from a child to an adult to a senior citizen and everyone, every human being. It is your responsibility to constantly learn, build your own capabilities, derive happiness out of life, and contribute to the happiness of others. That is the concept of HRD. In fact, when we started the National HRD Network, we start with the preamble. Every human being is born talented. Every human being is born with unlimited capabilities. It is the responsibility of all of us to ensure that in our lifetime we realize these competencies and grow into whatever we can be. This is what Maslow called as self-actualization, actualize itself. So that is the preamble of National HRD Network. And the preamble of National HRD Network also says the purpose of this body is to create humanness in workplace or humanize workplaces. Humanizing the workplace means create humanness everywhere. The concept of HRD also has gone through different dimensions and different nomenclatures, but the fundamentals have not changed. HRD meant human resources development. Some treat it as human response development. Some have said you cannot call human as a resource because calling human as a resource is limiting the potential of a human being. So we should be talking about human possibilities development rather than human resources development. For them, I use it to say, fine, you can call this human possibilities development, but I believe HRD means human resources development, and human resources development unlimited. That means that we are born with competencies which are unlimited. So we don't restrict, and I like the term human possibilities because human being is filled with possibilities and so on. Whatever term you may use, human potential development, human response development, human competency development, human possibility development, whatever term you use, ultimately the purpose of HRD is self-realization, building one's competencies, creating happiness in one's life, and creating a culture in our surroundings so that other people also can be happy. This is the purpose of network. Now, when HRD Network started, it started with the corporate sector because it was easy to manage the corporate sector. And those days there were no easy connectivity like what we have today. Those days, even to make a straight call through a telephone, it used to take a long time. People, therefore, had to compulsorily meet and share their experiences. So when it started, it was called a network so that people can learn from each other by meeting once in a while in different cities and sharing their experiences. In fact, the birth of the network is in a seminar of full days organized by L&T and XLRI, Center for HRD, where people got together, about 40 of them, and shared and learned from each other. And they asked at the end a question that should we need a body like XLRI or L&T to facilitate learning from each other? Why don't we create a new body? And that is how they created and called themselves a HRD network. And people started meeting in different cities, in Delhi, in Ahmedabad, Baroda, in Pune, Bombay, Bangalore, Hosur, Chennai, and so on, and then started periodically sharing their experiences. Not only HRD people sharing their experiences, they invited union leaders, association leaders, line managers to keep sharing their experiences. But for a number of years, it got limited to the HR department, HRD profession, and HRD managers or their equivalent. But today, we are totally in a different world where we understand HRD is too serious a matter that cannot be delegated only to a department or a function or a set of people who are trained to be HR managers or officers. HR should be the responsibility of everyone. Everyone should be doing this. And they can't be better places than a university or an institute of higher education, because all institutions of higher education are HRD institutions. They're meant to facilitate learning. They're meant to build competencies. They are meant to build also commitment through competencies, and also meant to build cultures in wherever organizations that they work. So when a university or an institution of higher education starts a HRD network, I would strongly recommend that it should not be limited to a management school. It should go beyond. For example, in a university, if there are 20 different faculties, and of course management school can take an initiative, because at this point of time it rightfully forms a part of one of their disciplines or subjects, so no wonder somebody has to take initiative. But I don't necessarily mean it is only the management school. Anyone can take an initiative, start a HRD network. But for some reason, if a management school happens to take this, their canvas should be the entire university or institution of higher education. They should aim at facilitating learning from each other and learning from various other parallel or other organizations. For teachers to learn from a whole lot of people. Teachers can learn from students, they can learn from parents, they can learn from their board, they can learn from the society, they can learn from practitioners. Same way, students can learn from faculty learn from all these sources, parents can learn from teachers and from their own children, and so on. So learning is between the stakeholders, and of course universities, particularly multiplication of learning, should take place a lot between a faculty member and the student, and a student and the faculty member. Faculty also learn from students, also from practitioners and those who are sitting in universities. These are, I think, three categories: faculty, students, and practitioners. To begin with, I'm not saying these are the only ones. Then each institution that starts the HRD network should redefine the HRD and perhaps create a new curriculum or a new meaning for human resource development. In recent times, the University Grants Commission and the new education policy have all started talking about facilitating learning to learn in education systems. So, how do you make people to learn to learn? I think this is a major focal point for National HRD Network or any chapter that begins. How do you facilitate faculty to learn, students to learn, and other administrators to learn, staff to learn, everyone, every stakeholder associated with the education institution. If we perceive this way, HRD network membership is not limited to only those who pay a fee and become members. It should be expanded to every single stakeholder of a university or higher education institution. But many of them are not accessible, like, for example, the parents or practitioners who live at distant places. But what is accessible are those who are actually present in a university. So you should at least have people who can be representing various stakeholder groups to form something like a HRD network council. For example, if there are about 15-20 faculties, there is a faculty of law, faculty of medicine, faculty of engineering, faculty of design, faculty of management, faculty of home science, and you can have faculty of pharmacy. You can have a whole number of faculties. From each faculty, you can have a small group of people. It could be a heterogeneous group of people drawn from both the faculty members, professors, as well as students, as well as the support staff. I think you can have, for example, from each one of these departments, faculties, about a group of about 7-8 people nominated to form a HRD council for the entire education institution. And the council can keep meeting once in a while with the purpose of every committee, every member coming from different departments or faculties or schools, sharing how people in their school are learning to learn, what are the innovations that are taking place, what are the good things that are happening, how they are creating new learning activities in their own school to link with the practitioners, to link with the community, to change the life in general and so on. So I would strongly recommend the scope of HRD to include learning to learn constantly and building one's own competencies and having new mechanisms of promoting HRD among various stakeholders of the education institution, particularly the students and the faculty. So I think there will be a lot to do. You can have faculty groups working on it, you can have student groups working on it with the sole objective of constantly promoting learning and uplifting the quality of education, quality of impact of that particular education institution and so on. Of course, this doesn't mean that we should not be doing what in the past HRD network chapters have done. Periodically invite people from other chapters, get them to conduct seminars, workshops, reflection sessions, share with one another, but the entire objective should be learning from each other through a process of networking. The quality of networking and the quality of learning due to networking should be boosted up all the time. I'm not suggesting any one or two mechanisms. I leave it for the institutions to work out their own mechanisms of multiplying capabilities through enhancing learning to learn. I want to wish the new generation of institutions that are starting chapters in educational institutions, and we hope that this will create a totally new culture and new life in HRD and in our society itself. Thank you very much for starting a new chapter of network in education institutions. Congratulations. Do something great and something benchmarkable and something which can be standing as a next practice. All the best from me, TV Rao.